Hi guys, it's me Jam. It's been 3 weeks since I arrived here in the US on my K-1 visa, and I realized I still haven't posted a video about my first solo international travel. So for everyone who's planning to travel to the US alone for the first time, especially my fellow K-1 visa applicants, I just want to tell you one thing: you got this. Honestly, I was so scared at first. This was my first international flight and I was traveling alone. But because I really wanted to become a strong and independent woman, I kept telling myself I'm going to be fine. And of course, I'm also very thankful to my fiancé because he guided me throughout my entire journey, even though he wasn't physically with me during the flights. So today I'm going to share with you everything that happened, from leaving the Philippines, my layover in Korea, arriving in my port of entry and going through immigration, and finally arriving at my destination. My flight was scheduled at 1 a.m. on July 23, 2026, so I arrived at the EA Terminal 1 at around 8 p.m. on July 22. My parents, brother, and my aunt accompanied me to the airport. Since I'm from the province, I actually completed my CFO guidance and counseling program the day before my flight, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing it this way if you can avoid it. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing it this way. Why? Because there's always a possibility that your CFO certificate could be delayed if you are missing documents or if there are concerns that need to be addressed during your one-on-one counseling. Thankfully, everything went smoothly for me and I was able to travel as planned. Since this was my first international flight, I was honestly nervous and didn't really know where I was supposed to go. I ended up getting assistance from one of the airport staff who had a luggage cart. Take note, there was a fee for the assistance, but at that moment I didn't mind because I really needed help carrying my things and figuring out where I needed to go. But honestly, there are a lot of signs inside the airport, so even if you don't get assistance, you should be able to figure things out. Here's my tip number 1. If you're traveling alone for the first time, I highly recommend keeping your hand carry or personal bag as light as possible. Once you've checked in your luggage, you'll be walking around the airport, going through immigration, looking for your gate, and possible transferring between terminals or airports. Trust me, you don't want to be carrying a super heavy bag everywhere. The check-in counter opened at around 10. When I checked in my luggage, I made sure to ask the airline staff an important question. Will I need to pick up my luggage during my layover, or it will be checked in all the way to my final destination? This is something I highly recommend asking because your baggage arrangements can depend on your itinerary and airline. I was also having a little bit of a problem because I had allergies and haven't taken my allergy medicine. The Korean air staff were so accommodating. They actually helped me and accompanied me to the airport clinic so I could get the medicine I needed. After that, they directed me toward immigration, and honestly, I was so thankful because I was already nervous and having someone help me made everything much easier. Here's my tip number 2. Before getting in line for immigration, make sure you already have the important documents you'll need within easy reach. For me, this included my passport with my K-1 visa, CFO certificate, e-travel information, travel tax documents and confirmation, and other important travel documents. During immigration, they might ask you a few questions and check all your documents to make sure that the information match. So don't panic. Just answer honestly and confidently. Once you pass immigration, congratulations! You can now proceed to your departure gate or explore the airport while waiting for your flight. I finished everything at around 11:30, something like that, so I went straight to my departure gate and waited there. I didn't bother eating because I knew food would be served on my flight. For my trip, we booked through Delta, with Korean Air operating part of the itinerary. My first flight was from Manila to Korea, which was around 4 hours. And because I had a 4-hour layover in Korea, I knew I had enough time, but I still didn't want to waste any time. When I arrived in Korea, I immediately walked toward my next gate. In my case, I didn't have to check in again because I had already been given boarding passes for all 3 flights in Manila. But remember, your situation may be different, so always follow the instructions given by your airline and check your boarding pass. Tip number 3. If you have a short layover, don't waste too much time after landing. The airport in Korea is huge, as in. The arrival and departure areas can be quite far from each other, so you may have to walk quite a bit. If you're running late, walk quickly and follow the signs. And don't be afraid to ask airport staff for help. They were very helpful whenever I had questions. After I found my gate, I finally had some time to relax. I went to the restroom, changed my clothes, fixed some of my things, and even managed to take a little nap. After traveling for hours already, I definitely needed that rest. Once the boarding gate opened, I just waited for my zone to be called. So make sure to always check your boarding pass because your boarding group or zone will determine when you're allowed to board. And now, the longest part of my journey. My next flight was from Korea to Atlanta, which was my US port of entry. This flight was around 13 hours long. 13 hours. So if you're going to take a long haul flight, please wear something comfortable. Trust me. Here's my tip number four. If you have the option, I personally recommend choosing an aisle seat. It's much easier to get up and go to the restroom without disturbing the person beside you. Unfortunately, I didn't choose the aisle seat, and that was one of the things I regretted because you never know who you're going to be sitting beside. But at the end of the day, choose whatever seat makes you comfortable. For me, I also think the back part of the plane can be good options because you may have a little more flexibility when reclining your seat. But of course, seat availability varies, so just choose what works best for you. During the 13-hour flight, we were served 2 meals. Since I was flying with Korean Air, most of the meals were Korean-inspired. Some of them were okay for me, but there were also some dishes that I couldn't really eat because I wasn't used to the taste. So if you're picky with food like me, you might want to bring some snacks that you're comfortable eating. Just make sure they comply with airline and destination rules. There was also a screen in front of me where I could watch movies, listen to music, and monitor the flight. Honestly, having that entertainment system made the 13-hour flight a little easier. And finally, we arrived in the US. Atlanta was my port of entry. Before getting off the plane, I made sure that my important immigration documents were already prepared. I had my passport with my visa and my yellow bucket. Please keep your important documents safe and follow the instructions given to you regarding your immigration documents. When I went through US immigration, I was prepared to answer a few questions. And here's something I want to tell everyone who is doing this for the first time. Don't panic. There may be a moment when they direct you to another room or area because they need to review your documents. When that happened to me, I was a little nervous, but there was no need to panic. They were simply checking my paperwork and I waited for a few minutes. Eventually, they let me out and explained the validity of my K-1 visa. Remember, your K-1 visa allows you to enter the United States for the purpose of getting married to your US citizen fiancé. And after entry, you generally have 90 days to marry, so make sure you understand your K-1 requirements and timeline. After immigration, I had another challenge. My layover in Atlanta was only about 2 hours, so I had to move quickly. I didn't pick up my luggage because according to the airline's instructions or my itinerary, my baggage was going to my final destination. So I immediately headed toward my next gate. And let me tell you, Atlanta airport is huge. I had to ride the airport train to get to my gate. So if you're not familiar with the airport, don't worry. Just follow the signs carefully, and if you're confused, ask. Don't be shy about asking airport staff for direction, because I did. They are there to help you. Make sure you're always getting on the correct plane because there are different steps and terminals. When I finally reached my gate, I only had 30 minutes before boarding, and after all that walking, I was just happy that I made it. After another hour-long flight, I finally arrived at my destination. I asked one of the airport staff where I could pick up my luggage because honestly, I was so confused. And then I finally saw him. My fiancé was already there waiting for me. After traveling all those hours alone, seeing him waiting for me at the airport was such a relief. I finally made it. From the Philippines to Korea to Atlanta and finally to my destination in the US. Looking back, I was really scared before this trip. I kept thinking, what if I get lost? What if I miss my flight? What if I don't know where to go? What if I can't communicate properly? But I learned that you don't have to know everything. You just have to take it one step at a time. Follow the signs, listen to the airline staff, ask questions when you're confused, keep your important documents accessible, and most importantly, believe that you can do it. If I, someone had never traveled internationally alone before, was able to make it from the Philippines all the way to the US, you can do it too. So to everyone who will be taking their first international flight, especially my fellow K-1 visa travelers, don't be afraid, you got this. If you're nervous right now, just remember, you don't have to be fearless, you just have to be brave enough to take the first step. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for my K-1 visa immigration, travel, and life in the US content. I'll see you guys in my next vlog. Bye bye!